That's that Dudley.
Player one.
I can make them put their hands to the ceiling. I can make you disperse cash for the feeling. Give it up. I ain't focused on nothing but cash peeling. Yeah, these niggas ain't on shit. They need to kill it. I'm geeky as fuck. Slim in the building. Really bout it. Big dog on campus. Yeah, I'm building. Checking for the chicken. Early morning kitchen. Ziploc ripping. Children of the corn. We ain't asking for permission. Long nights, hard work, all dedication. Even my bitch anxious, sparking up cause we impatient. Falling out with niggas, the more I'm on paper chasing. In my own zone, speedway and I'm private planing. Yeah, nah, I ain't complaining, just won't settle for that basic. Know the times changing, fuck getting it how these hoes gave it. Yeah, fuck niggas do fuck shit, that's how they play it. Yeah, sometimes all you got is your roots and your foundations. Turn it up a level, turn it up a notch. I was in the days when I got the guap. I was with my niggas swerving, bending blocks. 3 in the morning, but the grinding never stops. Turn it up a level, turn it up a notch. I was making plays in the parking lot. I was with my twin, we was ducking cops. Hard to trust the bitch, she gon' give me God.
Say hi. Say hi. Yeah. Say hi. Pretty easy, my pretty baby. She going in, a pretty baby. Say hi. Hi. We outside. Say hi. What else for day get started? Bye. Bye bye, friend. Bye bye, friend. We'll see you again real soon.
Turn it off.
Yeah. Uh. What it do, you in tune, you're live. We're live now. KM Lucci. We're here with another installment, another video. Today we're going to be reacting to a scary movie called Shudder. It is a Japanese film, I believe. Something super scary, something super spooky. Finally got a chiller. So yeah, it came out like 2004. So yeah, man. Here we go.
Being hit and left to die, her spirit
Here we go. Get to your popcorn ready, your batons ready. Yeah, it's about to go down.
returned to haunt them without mercy. The film opens by introducing a man named Tun. Tun is a photographer who has a girlfriend named Jane, a final year college student, and there is a fairly large age gap between them. That day, they are hanging out with 3 of Tun's college friends, Unop, Jim, and Mung, at Unop's wedding reception. After chatting and reminiscing about their college days, Tun and Jane head back to their apartment.
มองคนสวย
Suddenly, by accident, they hit a female college student who is trying to cross the road. Jane initially wants to check on the girl's condition, but she is stopped by Tun, who refuses to take responsibility and forces Jane to flee the
I ain't trying to say it like that, but we know you can't drive.
scene, leaving the girl lying on the road.
เพลงอะไรอ่ะ ผมบอกให้ขับไปไง
The next morning, Tun is hired to photograph the graduation ceremony of Jane's close friend, Nu, who graduates earlier than her. During a group graduation photo session, Tun briefly sees the apparition of a young woman.
ยิ้มหน่อยนะโน้ต
However, this movie came out in 2004. Yes, that is an old-ass canon.
After returning to the apartment, Toon immediately develops the photos from his analog camera. Meanwhile, Jane is still angry at Toon because she keeps thinking about the girl they hit, while Toon acts as if nothing ever happened. Since the incident, Jane has trouble sleeping because she feels extremely guilty for not checking on the girl, who might have still been alive and could have been saved, especially since Jane was the one driving the car. Toon then goes to his regular photo printing shop owned by a man named Josh to pick up the graduation photos, but several of the pictures show strange white shadows. Toon assumes Josh's equipment is faulty, but it turns out the shadows are already present on Toon's negative film.
ผมถ่ายเองผมก็ต้องรู้ดิ
ถ่ายเสียก็ว่ากูล้างไม่ดี
Back at the apartment, Jane notices the door to the photo developing room moving and assumes Toon is inside. When she enters, she finds no one there, but strangely, the sink faucet turns on and
First act of Paranormal Activity.
water begins to overflow. As Jane tries to turn it off, a long-haired head appears from inside the sink, begging for help. It turns out to be only a dream. After Toon comes home, he shows Jane New's graduation photos that contain many white shadows, until Jane is shocked when she sees one of the group graduation photos and notices the figure of a female spirit, which she believes is the
Right there next
same girl they hit that night. Toon dismisses it as an ordinary shadow caused by a damaged camera and says he will fix it later.
Hell nah. Hell. Man, these niggas always try to come with like a scientific reason why some shit happened, or like an explanation to why some supernatural shit look like some supernatural shit going on. Bro, sometimes it be some paranormal supernatural shit that went on, bro. You ain't got all the answers, Sway.
While Jane remains uneasy, Toon invites her to find out what happened to the girl. They visit a public cemetery, hoping to identify her body from accident photos posted on a notice board, but they fail to find her. On their way home,
Was she already dead? Why was she walking by herself late at night like that? Coincidentally crossing the street while you driving down that road? Ain't nobody else on. Just y'all. Don't seem a little bit suspicious. Might have been a ghost from the gate.
they pass the road where the accident occurred and see workers repairing an advertising billboard pole that had previously been hit by their car. Toon pretends to ask who hit the pole and whether anyone was injured, but one of the workers says no one was hurt and only the billboard was damaged. In addition, Toon's friends have already checked several hospitals for the girl, yet no accident victims were admitted that night. Toon and Jane grow increasingly confused about what truly happened to the girl they hit. Back at the apartment, Toon examines the figure appearing in the graduation photos and shows it to Josh, who explains that it is merely overlapping imagery caused by Toon's poor camera focus.
Bullshit. Bullshit. I'm gonna give a wild card a little bit later on in the movie, in the video.
มึงอยากเห็นวิญญาณใช่ไหมแสดงว่าแม่งมีวิญญาณตามรังควาน
Meanwhile, Jane, still troubled, skips her classes and comes across a magazine that discusses ghost photography. Later, Toon picks Jane up and complains that his neck has been hurting badly since the accident. Jane then tells Toon about the ghost photo magazine and invites him to visit the publisher's residence. There, they are shocked to learn that all the ghostly images published in the magazine are actually edited. The publisher, Wildcard, admits that he deliberately fabricated the photos because they are popular with readers and sell well. However, that does not mean real ghost photos do not exist, as Wildcard keeps several authentic ones that he has never published. One of them is a childhood photo of himself with his father, in which the figure of his mother can be seen standing behind a door, taken shortly after she passed away. According to Wildcard, spirits sometimes long for the people they love, and he believes that the presence of a spirit in a photograph is actually an attempt to convey a message, and that the spirit is always connected to someone in the photo.
ทำไมยังต้องกลับไป
After that, Toon continues his work by doing a pre-wedding photo shoot at a studio.
โอเค2 รูปสุดท้ายแล้วนะฮะ
Got like a weird feeling about Tune. Like he got something in his past. Wildcard, Wildcard, here we go. I feel like Tune probably him and his homeboys did some shit in the past that they don't be talking about. And this host that's haunting them, this ghost that's haunting them is something to do with him and his homeboys' past.
When the session is over and Tune is alone in the studio, the lights suddenly turn off and on by themselves.
ไอ้อ้ำนั่นมึงเปล่าวะ ใครอะ
As the pain in his neck worsens, Tune goes to the hospital, and the nurses are briefly confused when he steps on the scale to measure his weight. After an X-ray examination, the doctor says that Tune's neck is actually fine, and that the pain is likely caused by a sprained neck muscle from the accident. As a precaution, Tune's neck is put in a brace that day, and he is given pain medication. Tune becomes increasingly obsessed with the spirits appearing in his photographs, and later that afternoon, when he picks Jane up from her classroom, he sees Jane vomiting blood.
Jane.
Once again, it turns out to be just a dream. Tune calms himself by drinking some water, but not long after that, someone comes to his apartment. It is Unnop, one of Tune's college friends, who arrives in a dazed state and says that he is going to die. Unnop also asks for the photographs that Tune took of him in the past, and worried about his condition, Tune immediately calls Unnop's wife to come and pick him up. However,
He probably did some shit on like a trip. You know how these movies be going, bro. Somebody went through a cave or went through some forbidden shit. And, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, they probably did some dumb shit during like a guy's trip out or some shit.
before the call connects, Unnop suddenly leaves the apartment without a word. When Jane returns home, she notices something strange in Nua's graduation photos, namely a white shadow that always appears in the window of the same room. Without wasting any time, Jane heads straight to her campus and enters that room, which turns out to be a laboratory. Using a Polaroid camera, Jane takes pictures of the entire room in search of clues until she finally sees an apparition at the end of a shelf. Jane becomes terrified after hearing a scream right behind her, and suddenly a framed picture falls to the floor. The frame contains a photo of a female student from 1995
A little weak ass scream.
named Natra, who had received an award. Upon seeing Natra's face, Jane immediately recalls the accident and becomes convinced that the girl she hit was Natra. After learning that Natra studied in the same year as her boyfriend Tun, Jane checks Tun's college memory album and finds several photos of Natra inside. Most shockingly, Jane also discovers a photo of Tun together with Natra.
Was my wild card correct? No. I thought him and his homies, but it's really just Tune. Dang. Crazy.
Meanwhile, Tun, still troubled by thoughts of Unnop, goes
So tuned in on this shit for?
to Unnop's apartment. When there is no response, after knocking, Tun enters and finds the place in complete disarray, with Unnop's wedding photos scattered everywhere. Once again, many white shadows can be seen covering Unnop's face in all of the photos. Tun then spots Unnop standing on the apartment balcony, and suddenly Unnop jumps from the height of the building. Tun is devastated by Unnop's death, and after the police evacuate the body, Unnop's wife arrives and explains that Unnop had been depressed for several days because he felt haunted by the spirit of a woman. She also reveals that Tun's other college friends, Jim and Mung, have also committed suicide after suffering from similar depression.
เธอไม่รู้เหรอ
พี่หมายความว่าไงนะ
They all gone.
ครับ
My wild card might be right.
พวกเธอเป็นบ้าอะไรกันไปหมด
Inside the car, Tun is still in shock over the deaths of his 3 friends when Jane shows him the photo of Tun together with Natra and asks who the woman really is, as Jane is convinced that Natra is the female spirit appearing in the graduation photos. This means that Natra's spirit is also the one haunting Unnop, Jim, and Meng, which is evident from the white shadows seen in Unnop's wedding photos, a sign that Unnop had already become Natra's target.
Really?
Tun finally confesses that during college he met Natra, a very quiet girl with no friends who was considered strange by others. Over time, as they met more often, Tun and Natra began dating, but Tun kept their relationship secret from everyone, including his 3 friends. Natra loved Tun deeply and even gave him a camera as a gift because she knew about his passion for photography.
So Tune ain't shit.
On the other hand, Tun did not love Natra as much, and after they had made love, Tun gradually grew bored and slowly distanced himself from her. Arguments followed, and Natra went as far as cutting her own arm, after which Tun, already fed up, ended their relationship. Hearing this story, Jane is still confused as to why Tun's 3 friends were haunted, but Tun admits that he does not know the reason either, and that Natri disappeared without a trace after they broke up. Now Tun is terrified, convinced that he will be the next victim.
แล้วจะให้ผมทำไงอ่ะพี่ต้นเขาบอกว่าจะจัดการเรื่องนี้ให้
Therefore, in order to resolve the situation, Tun and Jane decide to go to Natra's house to obtain more information. After obtaining Natra's address from the campus administration, the 2 of them head to Natra's house, which is located quite far from Bangkok. Suddenly, Natra's spirit appears again, visible only to Tun, prompting him to step on the gas and drive faster. Fortunately, they survive the journey and arrive safely at Natra's house, where Tun and Jane meet Natra's mother, Anna. They introduce themselves as Natra's friends, and when they are invited inside, Anna strangely claims that her daughter Natra is asleep because she is not feeling well. Tun and Jane are confused, knowing full well that Natra is already dead and that her spirit has been haunting them. While Anna continues cooking, Tun recklessly goes upstairs to look for Natra's room, with Jane following closely behind. On the 2nd floor, they find many bottles of formalin, and when they enter Natra's bedroom, they are horrified to discover that her body has already turned into a skeleton lying on the bed, complete with her comb, glasses, and other personal belongings, all of which Anna carefully arranges every day. Anna admits that she still cannot accept her daughter's death, which is why Natra's body has been left there and preserved with formalin, and she has even refused to have her cremated. Tun then shows Anna the photos of Natra's spirit taken on campus, explaining that Natra's soul cannot rest peacefully because she has not been properly laid to rest. Eventually, Anna changes her mind and Natra's funeral ceremony is held.
แต่ผมอยากให้
พวกเธอรู้ใช่ไหม
คนแถวเนี้ยเขาก็กลัวไปเห็นซะก่อนก็เลยส่งไม่พูดไม่จากับใคร
Through Anna's brother, Tun and Jane finally learn the chronology of Natra's death. It turns out that Natra left her studies in Bangkok and returned home, but she appeared deeply depressed and barely spoke at all. No one knew the reason behind her condition until one day Natra took a large amount of medication and overdosed, prompting Anna to rush her to the hospital. Although Natra survived, after regaining consciousness from her coma, she suddenly committed suicide by jumping from the roof of the hospital. Since her daughter's death, Anna's mental state deteriorated, causing her to believe that Natra was still alive, which frightened the local residents and led everyone to avoid speaking to her. Not long after, Tun shudders as he feels Natra's spirit standing right behind him. After the prayer
She said, "You're not welcome, bro."
ceremony is completed, the cremation process is scheduled to take place a few days later. Tun and Jane return home, but Tun is unable to sleep soundly as he is still haunted by thoughts of Natra's spirit. Suddenly, Natra's apparition appears directly in front of him. Terrified, Tun runs out of the apartment, but Natra's spirit continues to torment him. When the elevator refuses to open, Tun is forced to go down using the emergency stairs, yet he keeps ending up on the same floor. Eventually, Tun encounters Jane, but she turns out to be Natra's spirit, who accuses Tun of heartlessly abandoning her. Desperate, Tun climbs down an exterior ladder attached to the building's wall, but Natra continues to follow him. As a result, Tun loses his grip and falls from a great height. Fortunately, he survives, though he must be hospitalized after suffering a broken arm. Jane later informs Tun that Natra's body will be cremated that very day, believing that all the terror they have endured will finally come to an end. The two of them attend the cremation, and Tun briefly recalls the happy moments he once shared with Natri.
episode, gang. This dude, he left her, and then like, it's crazy. This dude done left her. He done left her alone, all that, right? And now he's attending her funerals and cremation, like with his new girl. That shit crazy.
A few days later, after Toon and Jane go on a refreshing beach vacation together, Jane visits Josh's photo shop to print all the photos from their trip stored in her camera. Jane is delighted while looking at the vacation photos, but she becomes shocked when she sees other pictures showing Jane and Toon sleeping on the sofa, with nature's spirit visible in the frames. Jane eventually realizes that when the photos are combined and flipped like a flipbook, nature's spirit can be seen crawling toward a bookshelf, as if sending Jane a message to check it. Without hesitation, Jane examines the bookshelf and finds a collection of negative films. When the films are developed, horrifying images emerge that deeply shock Jane, revealing photographs of Natra being raped. The scene then flashes back to the past, showing Unnop, Jim, and Mung getting drunk
My wild card was right.
on campus late at night. They enter a laboratory where Natra is still working overtime. When Unnop forces her to drink alcohol, Natre immediately strikes Unnop on the head with a vase. Enraged, Unnop orders Jim and Mung to hold Natre down while he begins his depraved act. Not long after, Tun arrives and is horrified to see Natri being raped by his own friends. However, Unnop forces Tun to photograph Natri, using the photos as a threat so she would never dare report the incident to anyone.
It's own thing. Shit. You seen them in the act of doing this to a girl that you used to mess with, and you kicking it with these niggas afterwards still? You going to one of their weddings? Come on.
Tun complies because he chooses to protect his friends rather than Natre. Jane is disgusted and furious with Tun for committing such a barbaric
Kill them all.
act. Tun admits that he has never been able to forgive himself for what happened, but Jane, no longer caring, leaves him.
Yeah. Rightfully so. What? She was gonna be next? I mean, what were you planning on doing? She was gonna be the next one?
ฟังผมก่อนรู้ว่าผมผิด
You was a weenie in their eyes too. You not no stand-up dude to them dudes that you was kicking it with. There was no respect for you.
Knowing that Natra's spirit is still around, Tun challenges her to show herself while he continues taking photos around the apartment, yet Natra's spirit does not appear at all.
He should leave him alone and just let him go crazy. Mess his whole reputation up and everything. Just let him go crazy.
Overwhelmed by anger and depression, Tun throws the Polaroid camera, which accidentally takes a photo of himself. When Tun sees the developed image, he shudders in terror and recalls the pain in his neck, as well as the nurse's confusion when she saw his weight reach 120 kilograms, realizing that all this time, Natra's spirit has been sitting on his shoulders. When Tun looks toward the mirror, Natra finally reveals herself, covers Tun's eyes, and deliberately causes him to lose his balance, leading to Tun falling from the height of the apartment building. In the final scene of the film, Jane is seen speaking with a doctor at a mental hospital
That's epic. I like that.
about Tun's condition. She then visits Tun, who sits weakly on the bed with his head wrapped in bandages, mentally disturbed and hunched over. Jane can only cry as she looks at her lover. As Jane enters the room and the door slowly closes, Natra is seen reflected in the glass, still sitting on Tun's shoulders, and the story comes to an end.
You're mine forever. Epic is as Epic does. That show was hard. I liked it. I loved it. I give that one an 8.5 out of 10. You know what I'm saying? Just cause that little weak ass scream. You know what I'm saying? The time frame, it was 04. They was using the effects like a mud. To find out though that movie was actually a Thailand movie, not a Japanese film. It was a Thailand movie, so I gotta correct myself. But man, I love the plot. My wild card was right. You feel me? That was my first time watching. We experienced that together. That was a dope one, epic. It was called Shutter, and yeah, if you want to, you know what I'm saying, my flicks that thing. Go ahead, myflixtures.to and go ahead and watch the whole thing, man. But that shit hard, bro. Tune ain't shit. He ain't gonna be shit. Wasn't gonna be shit. I like that whole. She was chilling on his neck the whole time. That was crazy. Yeah, that was crazy. So yeah, thank y'all for staying tuned, tapped in, staying tuned in, tapped in. You know what I'm saying? And make sure if you're new to subscribe to your boy, man. Thank you guys for showing love. Don't forget to keep showing the mother love.